tip.
Good afternoon. It is April 4th, 2019. You're listening to a little column A, a little column B, hosted by William Nelson, co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? There was a man in Florida this week. He faked a robbery because he didn't want to go to work. I have a question for you. What crime do I have to fake to get out of this March Madness bet? Because boy, did things go wrong for me in a hurry. Life comes at you fast.
I don't think there's anything you can do. There's a lot of things. One, as somebody who's lost this bet like multiple times now, and it's even gotten to the point where my parents don't want me to make bets anymore. All I have to say is you just got to power through it, all right? You can't listen to all the noise behind you, all right? A deal's a deal. I did it. You may have to do it. You're not even done yet. Like you still got decent odds. There's a whole bunch of questions here.
So to give everyone
let's get up to date with that.
little-
What's the latest?
Little up to date. As of right now, I have won a league. Will has won a league, and we are tied in one league with still potential for things to happen. Now, if we go back a little bit, last week on Saturday night, the Virginia game, Virginia wins in overtime, and at the very end of regulation, they put up a crazy sequence to even get a chance to go into overtime. If they lose that game, I win. It's over Saturday night. I get to have a nice drink and celebration. Maybe even just have a celebratory corn dog. I don't know. I could have done something. Okay, Virginia loses. All right, no big deal. Overtime, what are the chances of that? I still got everything still headed my way. Next game, Kentucky game. Kentucky game goes into overtime. Goes in your favor. Okay, all right, well, no big deal. As long as Duke wins, which is what I'm rooting for overall anyway, then I'm set. They lose by one tiny, minuscule little point. So you're on this crazy razor's edge of a run. I just don't know how you get any luckier than you've been, which brings us to the standings and how they are today of all tied up, but you have Michigan State going to the finals. So it all comes down Saturday evening, Michigan State, Texas Tech. Michigan State wins. You win the bracket this year. I will have to do the consequence, which is dress up like Jackie Moon from Semi Pro and bring corn dogs to everyone at basketball. If Texas Tech wins, then we tie. It has never happened before. I really didn't think that had a possibility.
I never thought.
There's so many points that happen. I just never even thought this would be a possibility.
Not only is that, it's 3 different brackets that we play, and I never thought that we would tie just straight up like that. And they're different scoring in some of them too. Like the other one's an upset league, so like that's like a whole other thing. Like there's even more reasons why this
we're tied in.
Yeah, there's even more reason that this shouldn't be a tie. Is really my point here. You're saying I got lucky in all this. I don't know. Was Virginia not supposed to win? Was Kentucky not supposed to win? Like those were supposed to happen. I think we had both predicted those things to happen. So I don't feel lucky at all about all that. I think this is just how my madness plays out. All right, I lost 2 years ago off Gonzaga losing in the finals straight up like that. Like that's
in the championship. Yeah, it came down to the championship that first year. That was great for content.
Yeah, well. Anyways, I don't feel like I've been lucky at all. I do feel pretty good right now about Michigan State.
It's been 2 overtime games and a 1-point game. You lose any of those, that's coin flip at best. Those go the other way, and you're right back to your old ways. That's how it was supposed to go. I don't know what kind of deal you made, but it's not going the way it normally goes, and I don't like it.
Law of averages, my friend. Law of averages. But you know what? I think it's funny because I've kind of always been low-key a very Michigan State Tom Izzo fan. And it's funny that I think I'm the only one of our core group of friends that kind of always throws Michigan State a little bit farther every year than you're ever supposed to think. But they come through. They always come through. Always have faith in Michigan State, all right? I've never doubted them. Never doubted them for a second. I'm still a big Syracuse guy, but they've become very unreliable. Versus Izzo. Izzo's been there for me when I need him, all right? And he came through the other night. But my evaluation of the tournament thus far, of all the games I've seen, some have been great. You just talked about 2 of them. All of the Duke games have been fantastic. All of the Kentucky games have been fantastic. Duke and Kentucky are no longer in the tournament. Are we going to be left over with some good games right now, or is all the drama gone?
I think we talked last week about how there was a lot of talk that first and second rounds were kind of meh. There wasn't a lot of upsets. Well, one of the things that you get when there aren't a lot of upsets is you get the matchups that you really want to see. You're not getting they call it like the nice to be there's of, oh, okay, we made it to the Sweet 16. Ooh, we are in way over our heads. So we got some really good games. Almost all the games were pretty close. You know, you got a couple of overtime games, 1 point games. It was definitely a bunch of fun, some high level basketball. But I can't imagine that CBS is very happy with how it turned out.
Yeah.
Michigan State is definitely a blue blood, but doesn't carry the same weight as even Zion by himself carries, as well as the other teams. Auburn making it for the first time. Texas Tech, they got good fans, but it's not the same basketball powerhouses.
And Virginia's
But
definitely
I think that
the younger brother of the ACC too, with Duke and UNC kind of always being there. I mean, it's still a team I think
agree.
that has a following, but it doesn't have the same pull as Duke, North Carolina, or Kentucky. I mean, Michigan State is there, but I don't know if they're there quite enough. I think if you're an above average fan, you know that this isn't surprising that Michigan State's there. But if you're just a casual fan, I don't think you're as familiar that Michigan State is actually a really good basketball program. I mean, all the schools that are there are. With all that kind of being said, right now, the teams that are left, we got Michigan State versus Texas Tech and Virginia and Auburn. Who's the favorite right now? Reevaluate. You got a 1 through 4 for me on the spot?
Virginia is number one. Virginia, Michigan State, Texas Tech, Auburn.
Oh man, see,
Off the top of my head.
I almost go like the complete opposite. I actually think Auburn and Michigan State are the teams to beat right now, and Texas Tech is
remember
really good
Auburn.
too.
Auburn did beat Kentucky, but they did that without one of their best players. He tore his ACL.
I don't think it matters. I really don't think it matters. They have so much talent on that team, and we've been saying it almost like this entire tournament. If they could just hold things together, if Bruce Pearl can just keep this collective together, it works. It's a very good team. It's just the very inconsistencies, and then just some of the boneheaded plays they have, and they still do those. They have overcome those so far. And if they can kind of continue to just keep it all together and just play good basketball, I still think they have a really good chance. As well as, I've been low on Virginia since the first round. Everyone else, you specifically, don't think it was as big a deal, but I think Virginia being down in the very first round after everything that happened last year, it's amazing to me that they are still the only 1 seed left. I haven't been very high on them in the whole tournament. I can't be high on them right now. It's the ultimate Virginia disappointment is if they advance to the finals, if they win it all this year. That would just be every time I've gone the wrong direction. Every time I want them to go to the finals, they don't get there. The one year they're going to get there is going to be the one year I was like, no, they can't do that. Like, this is impossible.
I get what you're saying from a narrative standpoint, but they won that game by 20 plus points at the end. You're just talking about Auburn, being all together. They came really close to shooting themselves in the foot in that first round against New Mexico State and only won by 1 or 2 points there.
It's been every game.
So,
it's been every game for Auburn. They're the roller coaster ride of drama, all right? They do not know how to close a game. They don't know how to handle anything at the end. But you know what they do? They know how to have a lead majority of the game. If they can just hold on to that lead the whole game, they have found a way to make it to the Final Four. And they've beat a lot of good teams.
They beat a wild ride of elite basketball programs. They beat Kansas, North Carolina, and Kentucky.
Just slaying through
that's the top of the top
basketball
for Blue
grounds. Yeah, there you go. Just slaying through the Rushmore of basketball colleges right now.
I was super happy on Friday when they beat when they beat North Carolina. Ooh, that was fun. That I don't have to go against Luke May anymore. Yeah, I was happy about that.
So I think earlier I referenced that Duke and Kentucky have been in a good game. Like pretty much every game they've played has been a close, tight game outside of like the early rounds. Who had the toughest journey here? Do you think? We had a ranking already. You're pretty high on Virginia and Michigan State, but who had the tougher journey right now?
It's definitely tricky. I don't know if it's super clear cut of one way or the other. In both teams were missing a key contributor at points. Cam Reddish didn't play in the Virginia Tech game, and PJ Washington was hurt for the Wofford game. But then they're both able to come back for their.
I think those were the stronger two, though.
For the Elite Eight games.
I want to say Michigan State and Auburn overcame the most, at least in my opinion. And not that Texas Tech and Virginia didn't, play any good teams. I just feel like they kind of fell into the right place at the right time versus I don't think Auburn and Michigan State had anything easy. Every game they were facing, every team they faced. I mean, you just listed off, all the big schools right there they just went through. Uh, those would be my vote. You disagree?
I just that's how the tournament goes. Is that you can't. I don't think you just look and be able to just very clear cut say like, oh, this was clearly easy. It's just there's just matchups, and it's just the day that it works, and having Duke go against UCF for like this season, it wasn't like they were a dominant team, but that was just a bad matchup and just did not work. And on that night, they had it rolling, and if they played somebody else, maybe they get blown out by 15 points. But I think it's hard to just look at the results and be able to figure out who had the most.
Well, UCF and Wofford were both very tough second round matchups. I mean, with Wofford, if the one guy who just set the record the first round hits any threes, Kentucky's probably going home in the second round. I mean,
oh yeah, he went 0 for 12. Yeah, that's a rough
0 for
day.
12 for a guy that's clearly a fantastic shooter. I don't think there's any denying that. Just has one bad game, and they lose that game I think by like 4 or 5. Yeah, if he makes a shot, that they're probably going home there. But either way, this is how it played out. This is what we're left with. There is a scenario, as you mentioned earlier, that we may tie. Do we have a tiebreaker? Do we have any sort of solution? It's best of 3. Are we going by final? Like our final score, that seems kind of lame actually to do that by the championship. The numbers you type in at the end to tie break between two people. I don't really particularly like that tiebreaker. Do you have any ideas for it?
Well, hey, that is what it's going to come down to, right?
Is that? Well, I don't know. I'm proposing that we could maybe do something else if you want.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to kind of think of some ideas. Just because.
I'm just saying
it would be who win. It's who wins ahead of each other in each league, and so the tiebreaker for being ahead of somebody is the score of the game, and that would make it at least definitive of there's a winner and there's a loser. But the only thing I could either think of was either we both have to do it this year, which I don't know, that makes a ton of sense, or if it similar to how last year we couldn't find a winner, so of the podcast league, so it rolled over the next year. Does the bet consequence just roll over and there's like 2? It just doubles down for next year.
Oh no, I don't know if I'm okay with that. I had to do my shit. All right, you're gonna have to do this. Right? I don't know about that. I part of me is just a little concerned that this is the best odds I've had at winning the past couple of years, and it's gonna come down to our random final score predictions. Which I guess suppose all the team picks are really just as random. It's not like it's a different random pick.
I thought you were all confident in Michigan State. Now it seems like you're not so confident.
I just don't like the idea that I'm in a really good position to win right now, and I may lose because I had a bad final score pick for the championship. And you may win for that. And you may win because of that. I was in a really good
spot to win last week, and then it all fell apart on me. So.
All right. Well, we can leave it.
Be careful.
We can leave it.
Yeah, we'll worry about it. We'll worry about it when we get to it. But I think that actually, I for some reason I've really tried not to think about this so much because I figure if I don't think about it, it won't happen. But totally forgot that there is a tiebreaker, and that'll take care of it for us.
Yeah, there.
No idea what my numbers are.
There's I don't know what mine are either. That part of me just thinks I just filled it out too. I don't know. I should really.
And actually, if it does come down to that, it means neither team that we picked are in the finals. So your score is usually who you think are in the finals. So it could be way off, woefully off.
Oh man. Well, we'll have to wait and see for that. If you have any ideas on tiebreakers or something better or anything else, any of the listeners, if you have anything, just feel free to reach out to us. You can reach Zach on his Twitter name, which is
WickedZman24.
And also check out our website, lcalcb.com. Lots of good stuff on there. Listen to all the old podcasts as well as get a little bio on Zach and I. Also check out soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs. Lots of stuff going on over there. Check out the websites. We're also on every single podcast affiliate you can imagine, iTunes, whatever other app you use, Google Play Music, and I think we're on Spotify as well.
Yes, we are.
Lots of stuff there.
If you can't find us, let us know.
Yeah, if you somehow manage to listen to this and hear that, tell us. With all
Well,
this
some people
stuff.
see it like on YouTube or they see it on Facebook, and then they want to get it on their podcast app. So if you're not finding it on your podcast app, let us know. Make sure we that our interns are on it.
So with Duke's season coming to an end and Kentucky's season coming to an end and Syracuse's team all coming to an end right now.
Yeah, I want to make sure you mentioned that because that was a while ago and we kind of breezed
No,
over it.
no real
You were in the
surprises
top.
there.
You were in the AP top 25 to start the year, so you guys' season wasn't a huge success either.
Well, just because all of our seasons were expected to end in early April. All right, we'll just leave that out there. What was not expected to end in early April is the AAF is now ceasing all activities, and we talked early in the year about how they were already having a hard time getting funding, and that was just to cover the salaries. And now are we even halfway through this season? There's only a couple weeks
Yep,
left,
yep.
and they're just
Yeah,
calling it.
I think it was a 10-week season, and they're through. They just finished week 8.
And what does it stand
So
for?
there's gonna be
What
two
is it?
more weeks.
It's Alliance American Football something? I don't know what it is.
It's the Alliance of American Football.
Alliance of American Football was a wild idea to begin with. And their reasoning for it is they didn't get nearly enough support from the NFL and I guess the NCAA on getting kind of these in between players that I don't know. They came up with a whole bunch of reasons on why this didn't work and how they're not able to pull it off. Um, is it kind of weird that they're calling it mid-season though? Like they couldn't even finish this out, or if you don't want to play for free or work for free, is that how you end up really calling it mid-season? What do you know anything of what went wrong here outside of just something that was a really risky game plan just didn't work out?
It just seems like they just legitimately ran out of money. And
Again,
the rumor is that they sunk $70 million in, and that's just gone. I just don't think it worked. It sounded like they had the athletes to try to get it to work. I mean that first week had great ratings, but didn't really hold on. And sounds like there's a lot of bickering up at the top of the guys that are funding it. Understandably, if you're the one with a large financial investment, you want to make sure things are done the way you want them to be done. And sounds like they're not exactly getting along and decided, hey, I'm not going to keep sinking money in this and not have my way and just kind of I'm going to take my ball and go home.
what business plan though makes money in year one? What there's no plan like that. Like this had to have been a 3-year, 5-year thought process for this to even be realistically possible, and even then it might have failed. I don't know if
Well,
they
I
just
think that's
are they that far off, or were they just that poorly planned to begin with?
I think that's why it's coming out as they're ceasing operations. So pretty much seems like they're done, but I don't think it's saying like, it hasn't said folded, it hasn't said permanently ended. It just kind of says ceases, which to me means it's almost like more of a pause. So there's a possibility they'll figure it out, but it sure doesn't seem good.
Oh, and my guess is this is the last we've heard of it. Those guys are never going to see any of the money back, and they didn't want to put any more money in to watch it just go away. I mean, there's a
Well,
variety of reasons.
coming right on the heels of this is the XFL is going to be coming into fruition, which I heard that Vince McMahon is interested in buying the AAF, which I think is just he's looking for, 10 cents on the dollar of, hey, here's football players, here's just some infrastructure. Sure, we'll grab that, but just really makes me wonder. All right, AF didn't work. What's the XFL going to do differently to make sure that it works?
Do you think that was the play the whole time? Maybe was to establish enough something that somebody would pay for it. They're not going to make money off it though. That couldn't have been
No,
the
because
plan.
they're all losing money. This
Yeah.
is not we're selling for a little bit more than we bought in. This is
Yeah.
this is a fire. Please just take this off my hands I'm losing a bunch of money. Here's how I can just lose a tiny bit less.
Well, I would say the only good news that maybe becomes bad news now is this the last of Johnny Manziel? Are we done with Johnny football after this? I mean, this was kind of hopefully going to be like a more or less rebirth, or that we get to see him play again. Are we done with him? Is anyone going to give Johnny Manziel another shot? I don't think he's got another shot in the NFL, but if he wants to play XFL or Canadian, the thing is he struggled in Canadian football. I don't think he was able to get on a team there.
Yeah, I think, and he might have burned some bridges there. I know he was playing up there, and he didn't play super well, and then it seemed like it didn't end amicably. But I think that's part of the reason he came to the AAF. But it was fun while he was mic'd up. I thought that was funny, but I don't know. Might really be the end now. Besides maybe some flag football. I don't know. It seems like he just kind of keeps falling down that tree and just kind of hitting each branch, and that's a stop. And I don't know. Might be the ground now.
Man, who would have thought this is where Johnny Manziel would be in 2019? I don't know. Maybe I just had higher expectations. I just thought him as a person, though, he would have
He
a
was
hard
so
time.
much fun to watch in college.
I just thought he would be. I thought he would have such a pull. Like so many people know him, enjoyed watching him, whether he was good or not. I think the guy sold tickets, and that was just a hard thing to argue with. I just am shocked of how much he's been able to not gain the attention of people. I mean, he's the only name we really know in the AAF. I'm sure there's a bunch of other guys in there, but I think he's the only one being talked about in the news. I don't know. It's a wild story for him. I don't think the ride's over yet, but I think it's over for football. I'm sure we'll hear some other wild stories out of him somewhere down the road. But yeah, that's the last of the AAF. No real big surprise there. But speaking of surprises, we've got a bit of a surprise story here for a distracted driver who is on his way home and somehow managed to find a 250-pound pig in his lap. Or in his car? Would explain this? I don't know why I wrote this down, but explain this to me. What is this?
So, in this country and probably in the world, we have a problem with distracted drivers. Normally, the culprit is cell phones. People are on their phone, they're not paying attention. It's super dangerous. Shouldn't do it. Just all you got to do, you get into your car, you put the podcast on, you turn your car on, and you go. You just listen to us. We'll take care of you. We'll be your entertainment. You don't even need to look at your phone the whole time. Gonna run about an hour, so buckle up. But this driver is going along. Police pull him over because he's not staying in his lane. Police think, probably on his phone, maybe intoxicated. Oh no, has a 250-pound pig on his lap. That's why he's distracted and he can't drive. 250 pounds, Will.
That's huge.
That is enormous. A 100-pound dog is a big dog.
So basically, this is a pet.
Two and a half the size of that. I don't know. They got a picture, but I don't even know how you handle that amount of weight on your lap. That's not like a little kitten that's just there, or even a dog. A medium-sized dog. Like, okay, this is a little uncomfortable. 250 pounds.
Yeah, I kind of overlooked the 250. You're right. Now that you point out the 250, it's like, all right. I just kind of envisioned that there's this pig in the car, and that. I don't know why, but when I read your topics like this and I don't know anything about them, I kind of put an own story in my head, and for whatever reason, I thought this pig had like somehow snuck into the car, and this guy was like immediately shocked and distracted by like, why is there a pig in my car? And I was like, yeah, why is there a pig in your car? Please tell me more. And now it sounds like it was a more or less like a pet or like a farm animal that was just being transported. Why you would choose to have something that large or in your lap? I guess it could do damage somewhere else though. Like if that pig really wanted to beat up a seat in the back, it could. If it wanted to get out of the trunk, I'm sure it could do some damage. I don't think it would fit in the trunk. 250 is big. 250 is probably heavier than the average human.
250. I mean, that's
How many Zions is that? Is that like 3 Zions? It's like 3 Zions in your lap. Yeah, no wonder you can't drive.
That seems like something you that you're not transporting that in your car. That seems like you need some actual farm equipment, some sort of trailer. You're not putting that in the trunk. You don't put animals in the trunk. It's not. Yeah, that needs some official trailering, and that's just concerning that there are people out there that are driving with animals in their lap, let alone a 250-pound pig. This was up in Minnesota. So if you're in Minnesota, just please be aware. Not everyone's paying attention like you are.
I assume this is some foreign, like international, like weird scenario of like they don't have a truck or anything like that. Like they have one car.
Minnesota.
Oh man, no, that's funny now. And there's a picture. We'll make sure to post the picture on the website.
There is for sure a picture, and that thing is enormous.
Is it over the steering wheel? Like is it can you have a hard time seeing over it? Because obviously there's something.
Yeah.
If there's something's in your lap, it's already distracting. But like, yeah, all right.
Probably did. Yeah, probably had a difficult time getting around this monstrosity to get to the wheel.
This is great. I wish there was a video of this. Was there any explanation at all of this, or was it just like, oh, what, I can't take my pig out, or is like when you pull over the driver? Was there any comments?
No, we got no comments.
We got no
on the
comments.
article.
All right, hold
No
on.
comments.
Can I put you in the scenario right now? You're in the car right now. You got a 250-pound pig in your lap, and then I come over and I knock on the window and I'm like, license and registration, please. And then I'm like, holy shit, there's a pig in your lap. What the hell's wrong with you? Do you have any response? Like, can you think of any scenario of like, oh, well, this is totally normal to me? What could this guy possibly say to make this sound somewhat normal, or even explainable?
I'm sorry, officer. I didn't know I couldn't do that.
It's yeah. Can you show me in your rule book of where this is not allowed?
Oh yeah, show me where bringing a pig in the car is illegal, officer. Go ahead, show me.
Well, sometimes expectations are just different. Maybe he really thought he could do it. I don't. I wonder if he got pulled over for something weird, or if the pig was just that noticeable.
He got pulled over for distracted driving. They thought he was on his phone because he was not staying within the lanes.
Oh, what a terrible that's such a shitty
Can you
way to
imagine
get
you're the
pulled over.
police officer and this is your day at work, and like you said, you walk up and you're expecting some guy on his phone who's trying frantically to like hide his phone at this point, and then no, large animal that there's no way you're gonna hide.
No way of hiding that. I wonder. I wonder if they arrested him, or if they made somebody come get the pig, or they made him put the pig somewhere else.
You can't keep driving with it on your lap.
No. Obviously, all right. All right. So, what is the solution to all this? I feel like we're talking about the topic too much right now, but I'm just fascinated by this. I want to know what they did. Like, if you're the officer, would you just write this guy a ticket? Would you leave the pig in the
What?
car? You can't do that.
Oh, this has got to be Minnesota here. The sergeant let the driver off with a warning. That's it.
So then
Warning.
So then what? Yeah. Hey, just drive better. You can have the pig in
Yeah,
your lap,
I
but just
guess.
drive better.
I guess, just be better.
Just be better.
Yeah. All right, like I said, be careful out there in Minnesota.
Oh, anyways,
Be careful.
Be careful out there. Speaking of having kind of wild expectations, I saw the new Jordan Peele Us movie, and if you haven't seen his, I guess, first movie debut with the movie Get Out, I would highly recommend that. And I would still recommend this movie Us. I feel like a lot of people who have watched it have been very caught up with, the movie doesn't answer all the questions. There's a bunch of loose ends. You could poke holes in everything. And there is truth to all that, but I feel like people's expectations for all this stuff is a little crazy. Not every movie answers every single element of it all. It's a fictional story. If you wanted it to be pure fact and pure truth and everything to make sense, watch a documentary. Read a textbook. Don't go to the movies. Have some curiosity and some creativity. Give them a little leadway here. I feel like people have been way too hard on all that. I don't know. Does every movie have to make perfect sense to you? Or can you just kind of gather the point of the movie and then stay in that lane and not focus on the left or right? All right? Don't get distracted by the pig in your lap. All right? Just stay right there. Is that too much?
I can enjoy a movie that leaves you with some mystery as long as it was on purpose. Not, ooh, this was a plot hole and this was just a real mistake. But if it was intentional, of they wanted to leave you with a sense of wonder, or they wanted to leave you with, hey, there's still a little mystery left here, that always leaves things open for a sequel. I've kind of heard some rumors, some rumblings that Jordan Peele might kind of be creating like the Jordan Peele kind of universe. So I don't know how much truth there is to that with the two movies he's made so far.
That would be fun. And even if he
that
doesn't,
would
though,
kind of.
even
I agree that
awesome
it doesn't have to answer. Doesn't have to answer every question. That makes it more interesting.
I just and you know what else? I feel like when movies, and I feel like it's especially hard in a movie because you really only have this hour and a half. And a TV show, you can do character development step by step by step, and then you can even reset it the next season. In a movie, we're done at the end of this, unless there's a trilogy of all this. But still, we gotta kind of wrap things up by the end of that. And as well as why I don't think there should be a Q&A throughout the movie of being like, all right, this is why we did this. It's like, no, we're not doing that. I think people are getting way too caught up with all that. The movie had, I think the movie had its message. I think it did a good job of staying within that. Are there some holes in the, I guess, the logistics of it? Yeah, but That's not get over that. That's not part of the movie. I don't know. I've had a I like the movie. But maybe that's just me of being okay with not having every question to answer or not having every explanation of why is that such like this. And because the stuff they explain, I thought they explained well and it was good enough to make sense for me. Maybe it
I
wasn't
think
great.
it opens up some dialogue for other fans of the movies to have, rather than the director, you know, I guess kind of piecemeal it to you or tell you exactly how this happened. It makes it a little more fun to talk with friends and talk with people to say, hey, what do you think happened? What do you think this means? And almost like like a sports conversation where there's really no like real answer. You
I
just kind of come up with your answer and as much evidence as you can, and the other person comes up with as much evidence as you can, and then you sort of. I think no one ever is like, oh yeah, you know what, you were right. It's just you both feel like you each individually were right, and the other guy is either an idiot or like, oh okay, I can kind of see where he's coming from.
You see, actually, I find that super funny that you think it's like a sports analogy, because in a way it is, where you can kind of have your own opinion of what happened. We all watch the same play, but whether you played a certain sport or you've been in that situation of a certain sport, everybody else is going to relate to it a little bit differently. And I think that's kind of the point of the movie. It's your opinion of it. It's your feeling that you created off of that, and I think that's awesome and really really hard to do. But another reason why I think the sports thing is really funny that you just brought this up. Some caller just was on Howard Stern the other day, and he was talking about how he doesn't really like sports, and that was like relatable to somebody else. I don't know what the topic was, and he said one of the reasons I don't really like sports is because everything is from the same kind of camera angle. Like they don't change it enough. It kind of gets boring staying on the sideline of this one view. Like he needs movie cuts, he needs like transitions, he needs like different lighting and all that to kind of keep him entertained of all that. And I never really thought about that on sports of how everything is a very perfect angle, same angle way to watch it, which makes some sense that you're really just focusing on all of this. But within a sports, when you go to the game, there's a lot of stuff going on the sidelines that you don't really get to see a whole lot of. And if you do, it focuses on just that. Versus, the screen's very narrow, almost like tunnel vision for a game. I never really thought of it like that. And I was just at the Clipper game at the Staples Center last week, and this is the closest I've ever sat to all this. Like, I've never been this close to the court. You can hear stuff, which is really cool, but just paying attention to the people around you, the benches, the coaches, the officials, you can see everything, the cheerleaders, the mascots, it's all like right there in front of you. And there is a whole lot going on outside of just the main event. But yeah, that was a bit of a wild tangent. I had a good time at the Clipper game, though. What's the closest you've ever been to a center court right there? I mean, granted, as close as we were for this game, this is the Clippers versus the Cleveland Cavaliers in April that we saw. All right, this is not a highlighted game.
It was March, wasn't it?
It was March, last day of March.
Yeah. Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah. Anyways, it was a hell of a game. Clippers got some players, man. We got there a little early. We watched these guys warm up. It's amazing how some of these guys that never play never miss in warm-ups.
That's why they're professionals.
They're very
That's
good.
Always a good thing to remember that. Oh, this guy's not playing. Oh yeah, he's awful. Yeah, if you showed up to any outdoor court that any of us attended, he would be an all-time legend right off the bat. No doubt about it.
Yeah, that was a bit of a wild tangent. You got anything to say about my basketball angles of everything being the same, no screen cuts of all that? I never thought of it that way. Is that really an issue? I maybe am I like trained to not notice that kind of stuff? Because there is a big difference between the cinematography between a sporting event and a movie, and I think that's the way it's supposed to be. But would it be better if there was more cuts and more angles and more changing and stuff like that? Would that be more fun to watch?
I feel like they already got a ton of angles. After every football play, there's a replay. After every good play or interesting play in basketball, there's multiple angles. I don't think I agree with the saying you need more transitions and more angles. I get that in a movie you plan for what's going to happen, so live sports is live. That's the other side of it. You don't know exactly what's going to happen, but there's especially professional and in the Final Four, it's in a football stadium. They have that football field camera that can go right along as the players are going up and down the court. I think we got plenty of camera angles.
It's much improved, though. I would say it's much improved. Like if you go back and you watch like old highlights or old games, or if they have like if you go to like NBA TV or NFL Network and they're playing like some classic games, it's changed. It's I think it's come a long way. I mean, one, it looks a lot better for one, and two, there is a lot more going on there now with what they're able to come up
But
with.
you could say the same thing about movies. The movies look better now.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I the angles of it I kind of understand though, because it is always kind of the same side angle of a basketball game. And sometimes you get the backboard up top, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking all of that.
I think it drives me crazy when they go too long with the alternate angles. It's like just give me the normal view because that's what I'm used to, and I'm trying to compare it to. I like to be able to see everything in the same view to be able to compare it, and it's like that's what I'm comfortable with.
Actually, you don't want to. Speaking of comfort, you want to know what's really similar to the This Us movie in sports? The tension the entire time of not knowing what's going to happen and being constantly feeling like something's about to happen that's going to freak you out. That's probably how you felt that entire Duke tournament so far right now, of just being on the edge of your seat,
Yeah, it
being
took years off my
prepared.
life.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it did. This movie, the tension in it from start to finish, of just preparing yourself for something terrifying to happen, and then it never really happened. Like at the end of the movie, I was kind of like mad of that. I stayed tense for like 2 hours of this whole movie, and nothing really jumped out and did the scary thing that I was preparing myself for the whole movie. It is a thriller though. I will say that, but it's not a. It wasn't as jumpy as I was expecting. It has its moments here and there, but I was on edge the whole time, waiting for something to make me freak out and like swing my hands up in the air. Uh, a lot of tension, a lot of tension. But while we're on the topic of basketball here, somewhat basketball, let's talk some Westbrook 2020. How many 20s is that? 320s, 320s. What do we got? 20 something rebounds, 20 something points, and 20 something assists. It's only been done by Wilt before. Does this make it more impressive or less impressive? Because he's already averaged a triple double. Are you impressed by this? I'm kind of indifferent by it. I'm not very impressed.
He definitely was stat chasing. He stayed in. They were up by 16 points. He stayed in so he could finish it. But anytime you have a chance to do something that only one other NBA player has done, and that NBA player is Wilt Chamberlain, I think it's cool that he got to those numbers. I get a little it's not perturbed, but just I think you see James Harden scored 37 points, had 22 assists, had 13 rebounds, and there's some other obscure kind of thing stat. It's like he's the first NBA player to ever do that. It's like, well, how am I gonna remember that exactly? But 2020, it just my dumb brain it's very easy to comprehend that, and just keep an eye out for that in the future. To keep an eye out for more obscure numbers, it doesn't make sense rationally, but just from a simplicity. 2020, I can keep an eye out for that. I think it's going to be unlikely that we see that again. And it was cool. It sounded like he was friends with the late rapper Nipsey Hussle, and this was the game that he dedicated to him. So to not only to have this tragedy happen and decide, hey, I'm gonna play this game for this friend of mine, and then be able to put up this kind of historic line. I think it adds something to it, and I don't mind the stat chasing so much.
The stat chasing is so obvious, though. See, I don't know whether to be impressed by that. I don't know if there's a whole bunch of NBA guys, even if we go back in history, that were just never had the idea of stat chasing, or never really had the coaching opportunity, or were in a position to stat chase quite like Westbrook could. I don't know whether to think like he's the only guy that ever do this, or he's the only guy to ever try to do this. Like, can other guys do these things, or is he that much better than everyone else? And
I think some of it too is just with the internet and the consolidation of all the stats into one place. It's just easier to find. Where I don't think it was that long ago, you definitely wouldn't know it that night. It's like maybe a few days later, someone figure out like, oh hey, this is the first time someone's ever done that. Now it's midway through and they're doing it. You got people on Twitter. There's already a conversation that's been started about it. So it's for sure going into it. You're already aware of what the parameters are. So when you find out, hey, I'm only a couple of rebounds away from doing this really historic thing, it's like, yeah, go for it. Where in the past, no one had any idea. So I think there's also just an awareness factor that's there.
do you like him basically telling was it Billy Donovan, the coach, at the end of the game, "I'm not coming out." Are you okay with that? You're okay with that, even if your coach is like, "No, no, no, come out," and you're like, "No, no." I kind of have a problem with that a little bit right there. I mean, obviously he was on a mission, but it didn't feel like that Donovan taking him out at the end there. If Westbrook kind of if he's stat chasing, does he know going into this game that he's going to do this? Or do you think he knows like halfway through the fourth that, oh, I got a shot at this, let's go for it? Like how far ahead
Yeah,
in
it's the
advance is
second
this
part.
planned? This is planned in the second half, basically, where he kind of sees his number. He's like, oh, this is the day I have a shot at this. I'm going for it.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I mean, I'm sure going in, you're hoping that the game's going to go a certain way, but especially with rebounds and assists, ball bounces goofy. You don't get the rebound, you're one short, or assist. Like the guy has to make the bucket, so that's definitely not a done deal.
The rebounds are ridiculous. Have you watched some of these? Go on YouTube and watch some of these rebound highlights of watching him go steal it from Steven Adams or somebody else. Like he just comes out of nowhere, skies over, grabs it, and it's almost gotten to the point where I can see players on the Thunder right now kind of getting out of the way of rebounds. They've almost kind of given up on these plays and are just expecting him to sky out of nowhere, grab this ball, and then just run off. I did just
It's definitely part of their strategy. It's part of how that team is made up, and it's on purpose.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I'm just being a hater. It is impressive. He is obviously a very talented player. I'm not trying to take any of that away from him. But I guess it just doesn't make me happy that he seems so focused on all of this. I do like the dedication though. That was cool. I didn't expect that at all. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is Westbrook a selfish person? Is he a selfish player? Like, would you view him as a selfish player? Is he more selfish? Who's the most selfish player in the NBA? Is it him?
Hmm.
Kind
I
of on
don't
the
think it's
spot
him.
here. You don't think it's him?
No, because he's on a playoff bound West team.
All right. Is it like James Harden type of guy? Like who? Or is it like
Well,
a
because
or is it like a
I
Devin
guess like
Booker?
what do you mean by selfish? He wants to get certain numbers and he strives for that. But part of that is getting assists. Assists mean you do pass the ball and you have to pass the ball a certain number of times. Where James Harden puts up these crazy scoring totals, but and then has this crazy run of unassisted, meaning he got the ball, he didn't pass it, or maybe he did pass, but he got the ball back. It wasn't off of a pass from a teammate. He created his own shot. So like, does that make you switch? I guess. What are your parameters?
I suppose I'm just the old man telling people to get off their lawn. I'm just going by a very old school, traditional basketball mindset, strategy, and I guess athletic capabilities. I mean, there's not exactly a lot of Westbrooks in the world. There's only going to be a few of those, I imagine, athletic wise. Um, I don't know. I suppose they're winning
And
this year, so I kind of don't really have as much of an argument for it. I was really upset that like the year he won the MVP, they were like what, a 6 seed, if that, maybe an 8 seed. I don't
well,
even
I
know.
mean, they're even lower than that this year. So that argument doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but I do feel like he, outside of this one game, and I mean he's still doing the triple double thing. It feels like he's kind of getting closer to understanding how to play with other guys a little bit better, and I think he's done a good job with that this year. So it's hard for me to get on him. I saw how bad he was with Durant, and I don't feel the exact same way. Like I do feel like he's gotten a little bit better at those sort of things with Paul George than playing. He's just a weird guy, man. I don't know really exactly know how to place him in all of this. Like these scenarios have never really been something we've seen before. Like has there ever been another guy like Westbrook that has had these kind of situations that would cause people to have conversations about this? Like was there ever another guy that was like, oh, he couldn't play with Kevin Durant, or he couldn't play with a phenomenal player, or he couldn't play with James Harden, or he couldn't
Uh,
like are there other guys
Kobe,
like that?
Kobe.
Yeah, but when Kobe wins with Shaq, he wins three. When Kobe wins with Paul Gasol, he gets another three. Doesn't that overcome it?
Now you're looking at like a full spectrum, but at the time it was, well, he and Shaq can't get along. There's problems. He's selfish.
That
All he does is shoot. He never passes. I mean, I think Russell Westbrook is going to be one of these guys that at the end of his career, you look at him and it's oh yeah, that's right. He was just super intense. He was a lot of fun. He was just a ball of energy, and just he'll be looked at better at the end
All right,
than in the moment.
all right. So in the moment of Kobe, we definitely had these conversations, and it all kind of just fades away now that we look at the broader memory of it, being like, oh, we saw him hold up this trophy, that trophy, this trophy, and another trophy, like all these times. So maybe we'll look at Westbrook the same way. Maybe we're just kind of in the moment, like you're saying. I don't know. He's gonna be. I don't know if he's even that much fun. Is he fun to watch? Do you actually enjoy watching Westbrook with all these big numbers, or do you kind of enjoy more seeing the bottom line stat sheet at the end and being like, oh wow, he did all that?
I think that he's fun to watch because he's super intense. When he takes it to the hoop, he really takes it to the hoop. He's going 100%, and it's just you're afraid he's going to break in half sometimes. So I'd say it's enjoyable. I'd say it can be more enjoyable sometimes than when Harden gets into he's just clearly hunting for a foul, and he's just waiting for you to stick your arm in the wrong spot so he can rip through it, and that isn't as entertaining to me. But any sort of feats of athleticism, I'm on board with.
Yeah. Well, we will see how the NBA playoffs play out. We still gonna kind of wrap up some college stuff here, and then we'll kind of dive more back into NBA going forward. What I don't want to talk about is the Celtics, so let's transition into anything other than that. Actually, while we're on the topic of all that, has everyone been going a little too hard on the Lakers now that they're out? Do you have any sympathy for all that? I keep seeing new like LeBron stuff all over Barstool for this past month. I think they've overdone it. Am I the only one who's feeling that way? I mean, you're a very big LeBron hater. If I can get any sympathy out of you, maybe I am right.
What's the sympathy that
I,
he came to a young team, thought he could figure it out, thought he could steal Anthony Davis, and that didn't work. And I mean, it's unfortunate they got hurt for a little bit. But I mean, now there's even stuff leaking out. The doctor saying, "Oh, anybody else would have been out 6 months. He was only out 6 weeks." They're already trying to fix the narrative and patch that up. But
can we focus on anything else though?
Space Jam 2.
Yeah,
Focus on Space Jam 2, and he's focused on his other stuff, and you know.
I feel like you're confirming my whole point right now.
He wanted a little vacation. He hasn't had a vacation in a while. He wanted a little vacation. Go for it.
Oh man, you're terrible, man. You're doing it wrong.
I don't think that they've overdone it.
You don't think they? I think they've overdone it so much. Mostly just because there's so many other NBA stories that why are we talking about a team that's not even going to make the playoffs? It's already been eliminated.
Because it's the Lakers, man. They're on national TV tomorrow again.
I know they were on the other night too. It was terrible. The only good thing about it was what's his name had a good game. I don't know. It's funny that I'll make fun of us talking about the Lakers sometimes, being like, "Oh, everyone else is talking about it. I don't want to give these guys any more attention. They're not good. Why are we doing it?" And then here I just kind of did it in reverse style, like the complete opposite way.
Yeah. Well, because like you said, you were joking going to the game in April, but it's like the very end of March. It's like pretty much the playoffs are set. There's still some seeding that can move around. There's still a little bit in the East to be decided, but it's pretty much everyone. It's the end of senior year of just, all right, when are we going to get to graduation here? When are we going to get to the fun stuff? I'm done with school. I'm done with the regular season. Let's move on.
All right. Well, we got about 10 minutes left on the podcast here. We got a couple quick topics here. You want to talk about the April Fools or the dubstep mosquito bites?
Let's talk about April Fools. So McDonald's came out and said, "Hey, anybody that's really into pickles, we got the burger for you." They called it the McPickle. They got a picture of it. Basically, it's the Big Mac, but then where the burger should be, it's just a bunch of pickles. This came out on April Fool's Day, and as you might imagine, this was not real. But would you be interested in trying this burger? Or, I guess, lack of burger, this McPickle?
Yeah, well, is it a hot dog? Is a hot dog a sandwich? I don't know. I don't think I would get the pickle sandwich, but I think I know somebody who would. I think we all know somebody who would, right? I think everyone has somebody who really enjoys pickles. Whoever enjoys those pickle back shots, I think would enjoy this. But I personally, I like pickles. I don't want all pickles though. That sounds like a bit much for me, especially McDonald's pickles. That doesn't sound like it's got all the other toppings and all there. Like that's just how much of a waste. The worst part about it is if it still tasted like McDonald's because of all the condiments and the regular stuff that they put on there. You know how much real
basically tasted.
well, how much real beef flavor are you really getting from this McDonald's sandwich to begin with? Maybe this is more of a flawed thing. Maybe they should put it on there. It'll be a 50-cent burger. We'll save some money.
Maybe. So that just got me into. I was wondering. April Fool's Day was Monday. If you saw any good pranks, if you participated in any fun pranks, if any news stories really tricked you, anything April Fool's Day related.
Nothing really. Honestly, April Fool's is funny because I think everybody knows it. Like once it's the day and you see something ridiculous, you immediately know. But whatever the first story you read is, there's like a half second of you at the beginning of the day being like, "Oh, I forgot it's April 1st," and you don't know it. I definitely clicked on a couple of articles early on, but I quickly caught on. I was like, "Oh, this is ridiculous. This is completely fake." One thing that I think is getting a little bit of controversy that I did see, I didn't really care for it at the moment, and I think it's just a little bit funny that he actually apologized for all this. Was it Justin Bieber and was it Haley Baldwin? I don't know her name. Whoever it's I think it's his wife now. I'm pretty sure they're married. They posted some very over the top pregnancy pictures of like one of them. They're like in a doctor's office and people like have hands on her stomach like a fake ultrasound, which was terribly done, by the way. If you see the photo of this, it was just like clearly that's not real. And then there was the picture they take of like whatever's inside. What's that called?
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound picture. The baby is already like 9 months along, and I think in the ultrasound picture, like it's ready to come out. Like it's a full kid shadow inside of it. Like which was just.
I thought I saw a headline in a picture where it was clearly a picture of a puppy.
It might have been. I think
so. I don't know if that was a joke on the joke or what,
I think it was a joke of
what
the joke.
that was, because I had no interest in digging any further into that story.
Yeah, but anyways, there was an apology that did come out today. I don't know whether that was part of the prank or not, but that was the only April Fool's thing that really stood out to me, and it really only stands out more now that after he had to apologize for it. I don't know what he's apologizing for. If anyone thought that was real, or if anyone's following someone else's life so much that they need an apology for that kind of stuff, I don't. Anyways, anything for you? You got any good April Fool's stuff? Any funny things?
Similar to what you said about it's really that first one that you come across in a Facebook group that I follow, one of the fantasy ones. They'll just kind of post news once in a while, and so someone had taken a screenshot of a Bleacher Report tweet, and this was Monday morning, so I'm still in a very vulnerable state of. It said Zion Williamson is taking the Duke loss to Michigan State really hard and is considering coming back for his sophomore year, and saw it and was like, that might be true. It'll never follow through. Was like about to share it and then comment and be like, even if he feels this way today, tomorrow, like in the next days, he's going to figure it out. And then I did Google that and try to find more to that, because I could believe that he was definitely like super pissed about the loss, because that's just kind of how he's been all year, of just like takes that kind of stuff really, really to heart. But it was definitely I forgot. Wait, hold on. But definitely got to the point of like, let me Google this real quick, and like didn't share it. So I didn't get brought in all the way.
Yeah, speaking of not falling for it, but thinking it's really funny, the Brady tweet was great. I thought that was awesome. I think that's one of the better stories. You want to tell everyone about that? What did Brady do this weekend?
So I don't think Brady was on Twitter. I think he joined Twitter to say that he's going to retire, and in the meantime, he's going to tweet. But my problem with it was that by the time I saw the news, it was already a report on the April Fool's Day joke. So I didn't get like a share from anybody going like, "Hey, check this out," and like start to fall down into that fool a little bit. It was way later where it's like, "Oh, April Fool's Day joke. Tom Brady said he's going to retire." So I didn't even have that. Wait, is he going to retire? Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Wait, why would he do that now? If he's going to retire, why didn't he do it right at the Super Bowl? And like rack my brain to then go, wait, hold on, April Fool's. It's like I kind of like the joke was kind of spoiled for me.
I thought it was funny. The best part about it is him saying, "I'm retiring and now I'll be tweeting," as if like the second Brady retires that he's just jumping right on this Twitter bandwagon, and we're going to hear from him all the time. All the Patriots secrets are about to leak and come out. Did I deflate those balls or not? Let's skip right to it right now. I thought that was just the funnier part. It was like, there's no way we're ever going to hear this guy on Twitter, and this is the one scenario where we might. But That's Tom being Tom.
Yep. Just enough to keep the TB12 method in the news cycle. Just enough. He's a mogul. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. Well,
And such a dad joke too.
I think that's
Really just
I think that's what makes it
steering right
better.
into that.
Tom being Tom. TB12 diet, man. Get on it. No Tommy points for anybody this week, but make sure you tune in next Wednesday. We are every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. You can listen to us live, lcalcb.com. And make sure you check out Zach's Twitter, who tweets fake tweets from Tom Brady. You can check him out at
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Nobody else fake tweets better than Zach, all right? He's all about the fake news. Make sure you check out soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs. And stay tuned for your March Madness bets. Anyone who submitted a bracket, make sure you check it. The winner this year will receive a $100 Amazon gift card. And do we want to even throw out... Oh, you'll get a free T-shirt as well. You'll get a free Little of Column A, Little of Column B T-shirt. We'll need to know the sizing and the colors. That'll be delivered right to your door, or 2-day Amazon delivery. So make sure you go check out those shirts as well. Those have been a pretty big hit, actually. We got one review on Amazon. If you did get one, feel free to go put another. Maybe we'll make some reward out of that. If you can prove to us that you bought one and that you gave us a review, maybe we'll give you something extra. I don't know.
As an update there, right now, Zach K's primo bracket, you are in first place, but in fifth place, which is Brian's mind-blowing bracket, he has the most possible points. So both of you guys should definitely pay attention. So when we're reaching out to you, try to give you your prizes. You'll be able to get them, so we don't have to roll that over again to next year.
So stay up to date with all of that, because we definitely do want to give out a prize this year. Last year, the reason it's $100 this year. It's supposed to be $50. Is that we were not able to contact first or second place last year. So that's just how things ended up playing out. So if you do listen, and if you are a fan, and if you are in the running and still have a surviving chance, check it and check back with us once. We'll reach out to you on the email that you used to submit it, and we'll communicate all the prize winnings from there. We'll also we'll let everyone know if we're going to change up the tiebreaker or not for our bet. We'll brainstorm. If you got any ideas about all that, feel free to share it as well. Anything else to add?
No, that's all I got this week. Yeah, life comes at you fast. Just be careful out there, folks.
We'll be back.
Little column A, little column B.